So we started this work because we wanted to model the structure of elliptical galaxies after redshift 2 and 3 for gravitational lensing purposes. And we found out that hierarchical galaxy formation models were doing a terrible job with it. The problem is that elliptical galaxies are a lot more interesting than we used to think. And especially recently, we saw that photometric classifications of these objects do not quite capture the characteristics of these objects. Like, for example, this guy that looks very boring photometrically has got a counter-rotating core. And to add confusion to the plot, the bulges of spiral galaxies resulted to be of these few types. The so-called classical bulges, which you could compare to mini-elliptical galaxies, or these things called pseudo-bulges or secular bulges. They have a continuity instead of population with the disk. They show rotation and flattening the Celsius index of around 2. So the picture that is emerging is one where there is a fight between secular processes and violent processes in shaping the dynamics of galaxies. So you've got a protogalactic collapse, and you've got your baryonic cycle starting in the center of the galaxy. And you've got internal secular evolution, for example, the formation of a bar that moves stars from the disk into the bulge. Or environmental secular evolution, like perturbation, like minor mergers, tidal quarks, that contribute to the creation of this secular bulge. And violent processes like mergers that instead completely revolutionize the structure of the galaxy. This is a cartoon of a semi-analytic model, and it's split into two parts. A dynamic orbit, where you've got your cosmology determining the history of your emergent trees and the interaction that your galaxies go through, and a baryonic cycle, fluid formation, feedback, and chemical enrichment. The boundary between these two is where the interesting stuff happens. So what we were focusing on is, so obviously you don't want to tell your model, now you do secular evolution, now you do violent evolution. You want to recover this from the behavior of hierarchical clustering. So you want to give general physical recipes, let hierarchical clustering do its thing, and then look at the galaxy population to see if you really understand the physics of the galaxy evolution. So we focused on a semi-analytic model, a version of the Munich model, now led to Croton et al. 2016, but this is a new version of it, where we had two operating assumptions. The first is that we treat galaxy evolution as a series of perturbations. Any event induces a perturbation in the galaxy proportional to the variation in mass of the event itself. And the second is that the dominant mass component is going to govern the encounter. So the same minor merger of an elliptical or a spiral will have very different effects. And this is basically saying that the galaxy remembers its previous assembly history. I don't have time to go into any details, but just to give you an idea, classically, simulated models do this. You've got your dark matter halo, you've got the spin parameter and the radius of the halo, and you calculate at every time step the radius of the disk. The problem is this is what halos in the Millennium simulation do as a function of redshift. This is the spin of the halos, and they flip over and they do all these sorts of crazy things because angular momentum is dominated at the outer part by what the large structure is doing to the halos. But then if you link this to this, then you've got your star formation rate proportional to after -2, which is very bursty. And this affects your feedback loop, the metallicity, and the luminosities and colors of this galaxy. This type of galaxy has no memory. It doesn't remember the previous structure. It's recalculated every time step. How do we conserve the memory of a galaxy? A good way is to follow the evolution of its angular momentum. So you have the structural parameters together with the mass growth. So just to give you an example, consider your gas disk. Every time something happens to the disk, you've got a perturbation in its angular momentum. It might be due to cooling, in falling of satellite star formation. In the case of a satellite, for example, the satellite enters the halo with the same specific angular momentum of the halo if you assume dynamical equilibrium, but then it's weighted down by the mass of the satellite. This causes a vectorial perturbation in the angular momentum of your gas. And so you slowly build up your gas disk, and the angular momentum varies time step after time steps, and you can calculate the structural parameter of your disk. So for bulges, we use also the second bit of our assumption. The type of galaxy you have determines what happens next. So if you have a major merger, this really doesn't happen. A major merger completely destroys the structure of the progenitors. So whatever type of galaxy you have, you end up with what we call a merger-driven bulge, which is an elliptical or a classical bulge. If you have a disk and it develops a disk instability, it means it becomes too heavy for its own rotation. Then stars with angular momentum migrate to the center of the disk and they grow an instability-driven bulge. In the case of minor mergers, if it happens on a disk galaxy, then probability says that the satellite will impact the disk first. It's got a large cross-section, and the satellite's going to feel the potential of the disk before anything else. It's going to impact the disk will become unstable again, and it will grow an instability-driven bulge. If you have a minor merger of asteroidal galaxy instead, this this satellite would be disrupted in shells around the elliptical galaxy, as seen in observation. In the case of a hybrid galaxy with comparable components, the disk is the larger of the components, then the instability-driven bulge, and nested in its center is the merger-driven bulge. The galaxy, again, the satellite will fill the disky component or the instability-driven component, and again, grows an instability-driven bulge. This is just a very tiny percent of the galaxy population, by the way. So after we do this, we check that we are making realistic elliptical galaxies. This is the Faber-Jackson relation. The black lines are the 1, 2, and 3 sigma confidence level for the model, and in red and yellow there are data points from various catalogs. So it does a good job. This is a rest frame E-band Faber-Jackson relation. This is the evolution of the mass size relation after redshift 2.5. The model is listed in blue. We're doing a good job after redshift about 2. And up here we start over predicting a little bit the radius, although we're still inside the data scatter, so we're looking into that. But it's doing a really good job in producing. We think we're confident in the structure of our elliptical galaxies. So we start looking at the galaxy population. This is stellar mass, and this is the mass of the component, disk, merger-driven bulge, instability-driven bulge, and this is the ratio to the component of the total. You can see we're making a sequence of elliptical galaxies from dwarf to giants, as it should be, and a sequence of pure disk galaxies. And then we make two clouds of bulges inside spiral galaxies. And you can see that they don't live in the same galaxies. A merger-driven bulge prefers to live in galaxies about 10 to, up to a mass about 10 to the 10, while instability-driven bulges prefer bigger disks, from 10 to the 10 over to 11.5. So this is interesting. It's already telling you that hierarchical clustering is split into two kinds of objects and not putting them in the same galaxies. This is the bulge type probability distribution function in 5 mass bins for bulge mass. So if you're 0, you're a completely merger-driven bulge. If you're 1, you're an instability-driven bulge. This is, y-axis is the number of galaxies, and it's logarithmic. So you can see that the large majority of all galaxies are either one or the other. So a bulge is a stellar component that is not originated directly from the cooling of gas. These stars were made somewhere else, and they were brought where they are right now. So the distribution of bulge types indicates that instability and merger channels are well separated in the galaxy population. But why is that? So this shows, as a function of stellar mass, in this panel, the relative contribution to the bulge mass in bins of stellar mass. In blue, so the colors correspond to the 5 colors of this cartoon. So this is instability in disks. This one is instability triggered by minor mergers. The red is major mergers, the green is those weird galaxies here, and the orange is minor mergers of the elliptical galaxies. Notice that this is the stellar mass function, so these ones are suppressed by about 10 to the minus 7. This is telling you that secular evolution is predominant in galaxies between 10 to the 10 and 10 to the 11 solar masses. Down here, merger-driven major mergers completely dominate the galaxy population. And in here, you simply don't have merger-trees that are active enough to do anything else but dwarf galaxies or very old bulges and spiral galaxies. We show the relative contribution to the stellar mass of these instability-driven bulges and merger-driven bulges. And you see that secular evolution dominates right here at the high mass end of the disk population, in this intermediate region where major mergers don't disturb you too much. But the merger tree is rich enough that you have a lot of star formation and a lot of minor merger activity. When all this activity stops, your stellar mass function plunges. Because in here, galaxies are only made by major mergers, which is a very inefficient way of making galaxies. It's very statistically suppressed. These 4 panels show the time since the last major merger in your galaxy, and this shows, we start from here, the bulge mass. So these are merger-driven bulges in yellow, and you can see that the small ones, they formed a very long time ago, and then nothing else happened to the merger time. The massive galaxies, they still have major mergers very recently in the form of second sequence here, and these are instability-driven bulges. And this plot, this is not exactly the age of the bulge, it simply tells you for how long you need to leave your galaxy alone to develop an instability-driven bulge. This is the diffraction, and you can see that instability-driven bulges cover most of the diffraction, but here this is the 1 sigma line for the merger-driven bulges. They prefer to live in big disks and be small themselves. This line tells you that, for example, if your last major merger was 5 billion years ago, you've had time to make a disk of about 50% of the total stellar mass. And these two panels show the bulge half-mass radius and the galaxy half-mass radius as a function of this time. So any difference between the two shows the brightness of a disk. And this, and it lasts about 60 years. So you need to leave your galaxy alone to first make a significant disk. So no major magic for about 60 years. And then you start growing with a little bit of delay, 2 or 3 years, and start getting the bulge. I don't have time to show anything else, so I'm going to leave you with my summary. Thank you.
Question, please, Clara? Are you taking into account the gas fraction in your model? Because the gas fraction is important when you have mergers. This is the first question. And the second one is if in your models there are several phases of bulge formation. For example, it can be first formed by a merger, then by internal circular processes. What's the fraction that starts forming in one or another mold?
So we have gas, and we keep into account the mass of gas at every time step, and then when the gas reaches a certain density, then it can ignite and form stars. So yes, we keep into account all of that. And the second one, so hierarchical clustering takes care of, so we just keep the physical variability in account, but then we don't tell the model if this is secular evolution or violent evolution. It knows the mass of the galaxy, it knows, for example, in a major how big is this guy, and so it just modifies the galaxy by a certain amount, let's say. So if you have secular evolution, it takes a long time, a long series of small events to create a secular evolved object. But in a major merger, it just takes one time step. So it does this all self-consistently.
Questions? Pues, thanks. Speak to you again.